Now we're going to discuss safety in general, and that will consist of the SSC acronym, which stands for safe, sane, and consenting, or consensual. I want to break down my views of how I use and implement SSC into my scenes and my dynamics. But we're going to start off with discussing the pre-existing health conditions that people may or may not have, even including yourself. Someone who may suffer from anything mentally, physically, or any health limitations is a pre-existing health condition. So I'm going to start off with the mental pre-existing health conditions that may affect the dynamic or the actual exchange within the scene. So we have past traumas and triggers, as well as emotional effects and experiences that they have endured within their life. So I can use me for example. I am, like I said, I am a dominant, and I like using my beautiful yellow flogger here on bottoms. And sometimes those bottoms may not want me to use a flogger. Sometimes they may want me to use my hand, and sometimes they may want me to use something else. This is important because they may deal with something that may trigger them or have something that has traumatized them over the case of the years. It may be a belt. Some people may got spanked in their childhood, and they don't want to be spanked with a belt, but just only a flogger or hand or anything else. So it's important to know the mental health conditions. Physical can be people having bad knees and joints, as well as any spinal cord issues or any back issues or back pain. These are important to know when it comes to playing, because of course we've seen on different variations of equipment, and spanking benches and crosses can do a number on body parts. So knowing whether or not someone can actually endure what it is that you're giving them, as well as for how long it is that you're trying to do that with them for. Now, when we're playing in these different spaces, whether you're playing privately in your own home, a dungeon space, or a play space, you want to also be mindful of someone's use of drugs and alcohol. These things may also compromise someone's ability to be able to give you the rights to consenting to the autonomy of their body, as well as giving you the trust and the power over their body within that placing. It's up to you and your partner if whether or not you guys want to participate in any drug or alcohol use prior to or during your scene, or if you are participating with someone that may have been drinking or participating in any drug use. It's up to you and your discretion, but I say that I highly recommend that you play sober, especially it being your first time in a play scene or dynamic. You want to make the best of the scene by being as conscious and aware of everything that's going on. Also, you want to be aware of any adverse reactions or what may affect the scene. If someone's reaction to a certain drug is in a negative way, or it may also heighten any feelings or any emotions that they may or may not have. Also, if the play partner is expressing any signs of disorientation or inebriation, refrain from play. Just overall in general. It's just for safety, for you and them. All right, so now we're going to discuss dungeon safety and play space safety. This is my little mini dungeon that's in my little woman cave here. And when I'm playing with my bottoms and my play partners, it's important that they know that I actually have rules and protocols to my little small dungeon here. Meaning that you cannot touch any of my beautiful items here without my permission. Meaning that you cannot get on my spanking bench without my permission. These are rules that I have, that I implement. So it's important to actually discuss anything within the dungeon spaces and the play spaces that you're actually playing in. Whether you're playing privately or in a public space where you're being seen, you want to be mindful of the rules that they actually have implemented within those spaces. You may need to talk to the curator of the actual event and actually get with them and actually asking them what the rules are and where they're posted. If they don't have them posted, actually discuss what those rules are. They may have a dress code. They may also have rules when it comes to actually bringing your phone because of the camera, and also being able to bring a partner, or how those dynamics work. It's important to discuss those with the person that's curating the event before just making the assumption that the event is the same one that you went to last year or last week. Also, be mindful in dungeon spaces and play spaces, practicing the SSC protocols, which is safe, sane, and consensual. So we want to make sure that the spaces that we're in, we're playing that are actually safe for us, is safe within the realms of us to be comfortable enough to play. So if we're going to be playing in my little dungeon space here, when you're looking around my beautiful space, is it safe enough for you to be able to play? Do you feel safe here? Do you feel safe enough to be able to relinquish that control with me, to me? Also, sane. Are you coherent enough? Are you aware? Are you conscious enough to know what's going on? And are you able to tell me what's going on within the scene? That is important when it comes to playing with someone. Making sure that they are aware of their surroundings, aware of what's going on before it actually happens, and that they've consented to it, which is the C part of SSC, and consenting to the actual scene and whatever it is that you're engaging in with that particular person, and making sure that you consent to whatever it is that you're going to be engaging in with them too as well. So now we're going to talk about the safe word system and why we actually use the safe word system. I personally suggest using the traffic light system. That is what I personally use, but we're going to also discuss other protocols and alternatives for safety protocol systems. But first, why do we use safe words and safety protocol systems? It is because we want to eliminate the amount of abuse that may happen in any scene. Now, we want to avoid, there is a thin line between what we do and how it can easily become abuse. And that is making sure that we check in. If we check in with the person that we're playing with and asking them how they feel and asking them what levels of pleasure that they're at, or if they're in any levels of distress, asking them for them to check in and be aware, and asking them, are they still aware and conscious of what's going on? This eliminates the amounts of abuse that could happen in any scene. We want to avoid that as much as possible. Me personally, I use the traffic light system. It is important for me because it is broken down into 3 different parts. Now you have the yellow, and yellow is checking in. That is important when it comes to actually implementing and actually playing and participating in what it is that you're playing with. If I'm flogging my bottom and they call yellow, I'll say, what's going on? And they'll say, well, it's getting a little stingy. Can you use something else? Or I don't want to be flogged anymore. Can we do something else? It doesn't necessarily mean end of scene, but they just want you to check in. So I start off with yellow by saying check in. Check in with the partner, and also making sure that you check in with yourself. Do you need some water? Do you need to sit down? Do you need to take a break? If you're the one that's topping, even if you're the one that's bottoming, it is important to check in with yourself as well as your play partner. Also in the traffic light system, we use green for go. I use green for good to go. It also is when I'm checking in with my partner. How does this feel? Do you like this? I like for my partners, my bottoms, to respond with green. That's my clear and concise note that to me, mental note to me, that they're in a good space consciously, they're in a good space physically, and they are ready, still consensually ready to still receive what it is that I'm giving them. Red means stop, or it can be end of scene or end of whatever it is that you're participating in. Again, if we're flogging and my partner says red, I would stop and I would remove my hands and anything that I'm playing with or using impactfully on their body, and ask them what's going on. They may say, I want to end the scene, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I'm cold, I'm hungry, or whatever. They may not say anything, they just may say, red, I want to stop, and I just want to be done with this. And they have all rights to their autonomy, so you respect that red. Also, sometimes in traffic light systems, some people may implement the use of a black light. So someone may call black usually means end of scene, and when they're using black to end the scene, red usually means end of that particular kink that you're participating in. Whatever that act is, it usually means end of that act. For example, if someone calls black after, when I'm flogging them, it doesn't necessarily, when I'm flogging them as well as performing a little bit of breath play with my hand around their neck, if they call black, I remove everything if we're using and implementing black. If they call red and they say red on the breath play, then I'll still continuously use my flogger. They did not say in red, but I also want to make sure I check in to make sure that they're clear that they want to make sure that it's just only the breath play or whatever it is that you're participating in. These are important. The safe word protocols are important, like I said, to alleviate the amount of abuse that may happen in scenes, and we want to avoid that. So now we're going to talk about other safety word protocols outside of the traffic light system. That just may be a word or a gesture or maybe even a movement. So, but you want to make sure that if you're using the words, an actual safe word, you want to make sure that it's easy to say and easy to remember. Easy to pronounce, easy to remember. These are two things that are important, as well as if you are the person that is bottoming, I suggest you select the safe word. You're the one that has to use it and have to call it out in signs of distress, so you would know what's best for you to remember and for you to pronounce. Now we want to make sure that the words that we use are easy to say and easy to remember. Any safe word that we actually implement, if it's not the traffic light system, you want to make sure that your partner is, your play partner that's bottoming. If you're the one that's bottoming, that is something that you can remember and it's something that is easy for you to pronounce. To alleviate any issues of when you're in signs of distress, you want to make sure that you avoid forgetting the word or forgetting how to pronounce it and not using it at all. This helps alleviate any forms of abuse too as well. Safe words, like I said, are implemented because we want to prevent any form of abuse.